Hi, my name is Carolyn, and I'm a member of the Youth Advisory Board at the Children's Science Center and a current junior at Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. I'm here today to introduce you to Miss Rudolph, who has joined us for the Children's Science Center STEM Champion video series. Stacey Rudolph started her career as a geologist conducting paleoclimatology research and then moved into the education realm. As an educator, she has had the honor of teaching high school science, working for federal agencies such as NASA, the NOAA, and the USGS, and currently works as a consultant supporting many organizations in their STEAM education efforts. So, I'm excited to learn more about your education career and passion for geology. First off, can you describe what your day-to-day job usually entails?
Currently as a consultant, my day-to-day job is different from day to day. Um, for consulting, part of the work is it's called the hustle, right? You have to hustle for jobs, have to hustle for contracts. So it's looking around, seeing what contracts are out there, getting in touch with people that I know, um, proposing projects, all of that. And then when I get a project, I guess it depends on the deadline as to what the day is. It's not for someone who likes the same thing day after day after day. The consulting realm is more of a it's exciting. You get a new project, you get to work on the project, and when that's done, you start the whole cycle over again.
Wow, but that really keeps it interesting because even if you're in the same job, you're really doing something different every day and constantly learning within your own job. I think that's really great.
Exactly, I love it because of that. It's You get to each project is always different. So even if you're working on a similar type of project, who you're working for, the intended outcome, the audience, the goal, it's always something new.
Wow. So, when and how did you first get interested in pursuing STEM in general? And do you remember a specific moment that initiated your interest, like in the earth, and what inspired you to go into research?
Okay, so I know the exact moment it happened. I was about 4 years old, and my brother was 9, and my dad was the Cub Scout den leader, and they were going to a place, we're up in New York, called Trilobite Ridge, and they were collecting fossils. And I said, Dad, I want to go. And he said, but it's for your brother's dad. I said, I want to go. He said, but you're only 4. I said, I want to go. He's like, I get it. Okay, you can go. And so I'm like this 4-year-old with a bunch of 9-year-olds climbing up this ridge, picking out trilobites, brachiopods. I'm literally climbing up a ridge, just pulling them out like
That's
crazy. And that was it.
great.
It was so cool. So I went to college, and I was actually a psych major. But then I had to take a science class. So I took paleontology for non science majors because it was still in New York. I already knew it. And my professor was like, at the end of the class, like, when are you changing your major? I was like, I want to go into education. He's like, that's great. When are you changing your major to geology? We were back and forth, and that was it. So that's how I became a geology major. And then when I was there, I did an internship with Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory, which is it's part of Columbia University, and it's a huge geology research lab. And I heard about the internship possibilities. I applied and I got selected, and that's how I got doing the research for them.
Wow, so it was through like your professors and everything that you sort of like you were interested in this, but then
Yes,
through your professors, they like saw that in you as well, and then you were able to
yes.
pursue that. Wow, that's
Yeah,
really
and
great.
it was honestly, if that professor hadn't said anything, it wouldn't have been something I would have considered to do, which is strange because I loved it since I was 4 years old. I picked
Yeah.
up fossils, but it never crossed my mind that that's something I could actually do.
Wow. Well, that's great that this is where you ended up in your career and that's what you ended up
Yes,
going with.
yes.
So, speaking of your journey,
Mhm.
what were some obstacles that you faced in pursuing your passion, whether it be in high school or college or the workplace or any other part of your journey?
Wow. I was very lucky in high school. The school I went to was very supportive. I was in the advanced programs, honors and AP, and they're very supportive of any of us that were in those programs. I had friends though who had stories who were told, you know, as a girl, you can't do this, which is it. Even then, it upset me.
Mhm.
Um, but I never came across that personally. And in college, the same, but I picked a college I think I knew about it. But then the workplace, that's different. The workplace has a different culture. And while they don't say, you know, oh, you're a woman, you can't, there's just a different tone.
Mm.
And yeah, and even in the education, you know, when I was teaching, maybe not, but when I was working for the federal government, there was just these habits, and I don't know if it was conscious or not. And it took a while for me to kind of look back and realize that that was happening.
Mm. That's unfortunate,
So
and I hope that changes in the future, though. That
I
we
think
more and
I
more.
think it already is. I think it already is. I've seen some changes since I've been involved. So
That's good to hear.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so do you have a favorite memory or accomplishment from the time you spent working with federal agencies?
Ooh, um, ooh, that's tough.
You have
Wow.
to choose one.
Um, oh, well, I actually have one, and it was after I left NASA and I was working at NOAA. Um, when you work for NASA, especially in the education department, there's a lot around the launches. But as a NASA employee, unless you're involved in a launch, you don't get to go. You don't get an invite because those invites are intentionally saved for external people to invite external people on. It makes complete sense. But I never got to go to a launch. So right after I left NASA, there was a launch, and it was one of the educator astronauts that was on it, and I had worked with the educator astronauts, so it was really exciting. And I got a VIP with an invite, and I got to bring my brother. And from a young age, my brother and I would literally skip school every day of a shuttle launch. My mom would let us stay home, and we would watch from day in to day out. We would watch everything. So I got to bring my brother to a shuttle launch, and we got to take this really cool picture by the launch clock.
Hmm.
So it was neat.
It's perfect timing that you were just
Yes,
switching and then you got to go.
yes.
So, how did you then get into the realm of education? And in your opinion, what is the best part of teaching?
Oof. Okay. So I got into education. As I mentioned before, I was interested in it when I became a geology major. And then I got my degree, did my research, and then I thought, you know, the research is fascinating. It is unbelievable. In the paleoclimatology research, I I can't tell you how much I learned doing that in such a short period of time. Right, that first internship, it was a couple months, and I went from not having done serious research to being published, and it was unreal. And I went back, I did more research, and I realized this is really cool, but it is like same thing repeated.
Mhm.
And I wanted something that wasn't as typical. I wanted every day to be a little different. So of course I went into teaching, because nothing is the same in teaching any day you teach. Um, so I went back and got my degree in that. And so I taught, and then from there I was in touch with my graduate school professor, and I was like, I love the teaching, but I also love the curriculum that I did with you. And he said, get in touch with this person. And 6 weeks later, I was brought down as a contractor for NASA. How do
Wow.
you say no to NASA?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
yes.
So, I'm very inspired by your devotion to supporting STEAM education. So, could you talk a little bit more about why it's important to you?
Uh, um, Well, one of the reasons is because I always loved it. And my whole family was into science and all that. My brother's, biomedical research. I have cousins who are doctors. It's just something in our family. But like I said before, I love geology, but it didn't cross my mind that I could be a geology major
Mhm.
until, and I was even in the class and I loved it until the professor said, you should do this. And so it was something where I was like, I had a passion for it, and there was just that disconnect. And what I found when I started teaching and when I do the STEM and STEAM stuff is that there's kids who have that excitement for it, and then they don't go anywhere with it. And I want them to know you can do this. It's fun, it's exciting. You don't have to be, straight A's. You don't have to be, honors and AP, and you don't have to have like go to Ivy Leagues. If you love it and you have a passion for it, that's where you should go, because that's what makes success.
That's incredible that you were able to like bring what you love doing together and then educate the people, like the generation of that's to come and everything. I find
Yes.
that really inspiring. And you've
Thank
already touched on this in a lot of ways.
you.
Um, but how would you define success personally and professionally?
Ooh, um, personally, you have to do what you love, and you have to be where you're interested and you feel a passion for. Doing a job because it's a job, it's not fulfilling. Doing a job or because you love it, it's what makes you get up in the morning. It's what makes you keep going. For me, it's what makes me do the hustle. What makes me kind of go out and find those things so that I can do something. I can help someone. I can help inspire someone. Personally, it's the same. I guess it's the same thing. You have to be true to yourself. You have to know who you are, you have to accept who you are, and you have to go with that. And that's how you succeed.
Wow. And I love how you were able to find variety in your life through your job and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that I hadn't really thought of before, but that really is a huge part of success and keeping your life interesting, even when
Mm-hmm.
you have like achieved your career and like landed where you wanted to land. Or even if you landed somewhere you didn't expect to land, but you love it,
Yep.
keeping that variety is really important.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey. And I'm really excited to see what else you do. And I'm very inspired by how many people you're educating and helping for the future of STEAM. It's really great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.